Since Leon mentioned things related to the dragon mark, let's briefly explain it. The dragon mark is an auxiliary magic used by dragon couples to maintain loyalty and enhance charm. It is usually inconspicuous, but when missing the other person, it turns a light purple. When the couple's bodies are entwined, it becomes a deep purple. If their physical intimacy deepens, the deep purple dragon mark continuously emits a bright light. During this time, Leon tried many methods and read countless books in the library, yet he still couldn't find the reason for his magic exhaustion. At that moment, he realized he had never considered his physical condition. He speculated that the dragon mark inside his body might be affecting his magic. So he returned to the bathroom in his room, took off his shirt, and summoned the dragon mark on his chest. He lowered his head and gently caressed the dragon mark, silently thinking. At first, Rosewise was just tormenting me with the dragon mark. If she had known it would steal my magic, she would have taken the chance to tease me long ago. Leon planned to release the magic within his body to test whether the dragon mark would absorb it. Let me give it a try. He closed his eyes and slowly guided the magic within him. Leon lowered his head slightly and clenched his hands. Soon, countless blue lightning bolts appeared around his body, the magic of Leon's lightning element. The lightning tightly wrapped around him, crackling loudly as it waited for his command. Leon silently guided the flow. The magic moved through his palms, arms, shoulders, and finally toward his chest. He could clearly feel the magical energy from his head, shoulders, and hands converging through the magical circuits in his body. However, the moment the magic entered Leon's chest, it vanished, as if instantly absorbed by something inside him. The dragon mark emitted faint lightning, as though proving it hadn't completely absorbed the magic. Sensing the situation, Leon frowned slightly. He looked down at the dragon mark and whispered his conclusion. As expected, my magic disappears as soon as it reaches my chest. But strangely, the dragon mark only absorbs a tiny fraction. The main thing stealing my magic is something else. As for magical circuits, there's a key point to understand. After magical enlightenment, a magic user can store refined magic within their magical circuits through continuous circulation, allowing it to be used at any time. These magical circuits spread throughout the body. Magic can be drawn from many areas, such as the brain, shoulders, or chest. Leon gently touched his chest. Based on his earlier test, he reached a conclusion. Something inside his body was stealing the magic flowing through his circuits, preventing him from storing it and creating the illusion of magic exhaustion. But the question remained, when did this thief appear in his body, and why did it devour his magic? Leon looked puzzled. He scratched his head in irritation. At least now, he understood the cause of his exhaustion. Yet no matter how much he thought about it, he couldn't identify what was secretly absorbing most of his magic. Leon turned to face the mirror, staring at his reflection with a serious gaze, and muttered softly, "So far, there's been no abnormality in my body. I should be fine, right?" Suddenly, something clicked. During the experiment, most of the magic had been absorbed by that unknown thing. But a small portion was absorbed by the dragon mark, and the magic stored there remained intact. Leon lightly tapped his right hand against his left as realization dawned. If the magic in the dragon mark isn't being absorbed, does that mean I can store magic there? Leon was delighted by the discovery. He patted his chest happily. Even if the storage speed was slow, it was far better than having nothing. As long as he slowly stored magic in the dragon mark, it wouldn't be completely devoured by the mysterious thing inside him. Leon stepped out of the bathroom and stretched his arms confidently. Let's do it. Starting today, I'll gather magic bit by bit. From then on, Leon gradually stored magic in the dragon mark every day. At the same time, he continued teaching Muan magic theory and released techniques as usual. After a period of diligent learning, Muan finally met the requirements for magical enlightenment. Leon and Rosewise chose an auspicious day for her ceremony. That day, the weather was exceptionally clear. Sunlight bathed the silver dragon castle, as if cheering for Muan. Leon woke up early. Yawning, he left his room and headed to the first-floor lobby. Today was Muan's elemental awakening, and as her father, he had to be there. Rosewise also happened to wake up around the same time. She opened the hall doors and ran into Leon, who had just arrived. Seeing Rosewise, Leon raised his hand and waved. "Good morning. The weather's really nice." Hearing his voice, Rosewise lifted her head and noticed that Leon had arrived earlier than her. She was slightly surprised by his greeting. After all, in the past, he rarely treated her so politely. She crossed her arms and glanced at him. "You're actually taking the initiative to greet me. Seems like you're in a good mood. Leon closed his eyes and spoke confidently. Of course. Muan is about to awaken the same element as me. How could I not be happy? Then Leon and Rosewise headed to the auditorium hall together to accompany Muan during the ceremony. Hearing his words, Rosewise snorted in dissatisfaction. Muan will definitely awaken the fire element. The Dragon Clan's genes are far stronger than you think. Leon laughed. If dragon genes are that powerful, why is Noah still a thunder element user? That's just probability, Rosewise replied. Seeing that she refused to admit Muan might awaken thunder, Leon stepped closer, his expression serious. If the thunder symbol appears in Muan's magic circle later, I wonder if you'll still be this stubborn. Rosewise frowned slightly and replied angrily, just wait and see. Inside the auditorium of the Silver Dragon Castle, Muan and Anna had arrived long ago. Anna was preparing for Muan's magical enlightenment ceremony. She held a book on magical enlightenment and carefully drew a magic circle on the hall floor according to the instructions. Muan stood quietly beside Anna, waiting for the ceremony to begin. The massive golden magic array occasionally emitted dazzling light. It was the first time Muan had seen such a magic formation. She couldn't help being deeply drawn to the golden glow, watching it with excitement. At that moment, she heard a commotion outside the auditorium. She turned her head and curiously looked toward the entrance. Suddenly, the auditorium doors were pushed open by Leon and Rosewise. The moment they stepped inside, they exchanged serious looks. Their shoulders pressed tightly together as they pushed against one another. They were still arguing about which element Muan would awaken. Rosewise said angrily that Muan would definitely be just like her. Leon, unwilling to back down, loudly refuted her. No, she must be like me. Seeing Leon and Rosewise enter, Muan happily ran toward them. Dad, Mom. Noticing Muan, Leon and Rosewise immediately stopped arguing and smiled at her. Muan raised her hands and gently waved, her eyes filled with excitement and joy. She was truly looking forward to today's magical enlightenment ceremony. She lifted her head to look at Leon and Rosewise and said, I'm about to awaken my innate element. You'll keep watching me later, right? Rosewise bent down slightly and gently stroked Muan's head. With a soft expression, she replied, Of course. Mom and Dad will be with you the whole time. Leon slowly squatted in front of Muan, reached out and gently patted her shoulders in encouragement. Don't be nervous, just relax. Do it the way Dad taught you. Muan nodded lightly and replied confidently. At that moment, Anna had already finished drawing the magic circle. She carefully inspected it several times, confirming there were no issues. Then she turned to Leon and Rosewise, bowed politely and reported, Your Majesty, Royal Highness, the awakening magic circle for Her Highness Muan is ready. The ceremony may begin at any time. Rosewise lightly patted Muan's back, signaling her to step forward. Go on. Mom and Dad will always be here. Leon clenched his fist and cheered her on. You can do it. Muan opened her arms, gathered her courage, and ran toward the magic circle. She quickly reached its center and adopted a serious expression. She clenched her hands into fists and held them at her sides, taking a ready stance. A faint golden light surrounded her, as if quietly waiting for her next move. Muan slowly closed her eyes. Following Leon's teachings, she tightened her fists and bent slightly, silently condensing the magic within her body. Soon, the magic circle beneath her feet resonated with her power, spinning rapidly and releasing a brilliant golden glow. The waves from the circle lifted Muan's hair and skirt, as if celebrating the successful convergence of her magic. Seeing this radiance, Rosewise raised her eyebrows in surprise. It was the first time she had seen Muan complete the first step of magical enlightenment so smoothly. From past experience with other dragon clans, Rosewise had assumed Muan wouldn't be able to gather so much magical energy so quickly. Usually, the first attempt required several tries. I didn't expect her to succeed in one go. Hearing this, Leon looked proud. He pointed to himself and said confidently, Of course, I taught her magic. As Muan continued condensing her power, flames slowly emerged from her fists and wrapped tightly around her arms. In an instant, her entire body was engulfed in blazing fire. The gentle yet powerful flames lifted Muan into the air. The magic circle beneath her feet shifted from gold to orange-red. Flames burst forth from the circle and rushed toward her, while the entire array shimmered in fiery brilliance. A symbol representing the fire element gradually appeared at its center. Seeing the flames surrounding Muan, Rosewise felt overjoyed. This meant Muan had awakened the same element as her. Fire! She awakened the fire element! Leon's eyes widened in disbelief. How is that possible? He hadn't expected Muan's awakened element to be fire rather than thunder, and he couldn't hide his disappointment. Rosewise wore a smug smile. This result clearly meant she had won their argument. She recalled how confidently Leon had insisted earlier that Muan would awaken the thunder element, and she couldn't help feeling amused. She turned to Leon and teased him, "Why aren't you smiling? Come on, smile. Our daughter has successfully awakened her element. Aren't you happy? I understand. You've won so many times. Even the eldest daughter sided with you. But this time I won." Rosewise looked thoroughly pleased, knowing Leon's emotions must be complicated. She reached out and patted his shoulder, pretending to comfort him in his supposed sadness. Ever since Noah awakened the thunder element, Leon had been smug for a long time. Now, Muan awakening fire finally gave Rosewise a chance to tease him back. However, Leon wasn't as dejected as she expected. Instead, he smiled faintly. The firelight reflected in his eyes, as if he still held hope for Muan's enlightenment. He stared intently at Muan in the magic circle and murmured, "No." Rosewise frowned in confusion. "No. Isn't there a clear fire symbol right there?" She wondered if Leon hadn't seen the flames and the blazing symbol in the center of the circle. Everything clearly proved that Muan had awakened the fire element. There should be no chance for another element. But Leon pointed at the magic circle and smiled smugly. "The awakening isn't over yet." Rosewise turned back toward Muan, puzzled. At that moment, while flames still surged around Muan and tightly enveloped her, faint blue lightning began to appear among the fire. The blue arcs flickered, emitting a soft glow within the orange-red blaze. Although the blue lightning didn't overpower the flames, it clearly proved that while Muan awakened the fire element, she had also awakened another one. Rosewise's eyes widened in shock. "This is